Welcome back to episode 2 of The Claw and the King. We are back after the resounding success of episode 1. I believe we are officially the number one podcast in the St. Ives / Turramurra region. All right, so what's on the agenda for today?
Well, obviously, big news, James Harden trade. We're going to analyze who won it, who lost it. Personally, I don't think there's any big losses, but there's still bigger winners than losers. And then the Kyrie situation. That's obviously big news. He's just decided, hey, I don't want to work. I don't want to do anything in life. I just want to sit around and earn money. So that's something to discuss. And then we'll preview big games for the NBA and maybe chuck in a bit of Premier League action and some UFC action.
Hell yeah.
Radio.
Right. So let's break down the breaking news. No one's heard about this. We are breaking this story. James Harden has been traded to the Brooklyn Nets to pair up with KD and maybe Kyrie. We'll see. That comes after Harden's comments yesterday, where he basically said, I don't think this situation can be fixed. And then John Wall and Boogie Cousins came out and said, fuck you, James Harden, you haven't even tried. It felt like a trade was coming after yesterday, but I didn't expect it to be this soon.
No, definitely not. I personally thought that the Nets had no chance whatsoever of making that trade. I mean, they just didn't have valuable first round picks. They didn't have players that I think they were willing to trade. I don't think that Karis LeVert or Jared Allen would be on the block for them because they're so key to either their bench roles or defensively. But however, the Nets decided, hey, Kyrie Irving, he's doing whatever he's doing. We need another superstar here. We need a guy that can generate 30 and 8 in his sleep. So they went out and got James Harden. And as much as I expected a trade to happen after what James Harden said, I don't think the Nets were ever in my view. I thought Sixers had much better options really for the Rockets to take in some more talent. I mean, Ben Simmons, they've got some good young talent.
Well, they didn't want to give up Tyrese Maxey apparently.
Well, yeah, apparently the Rockets wanted Mateus Tybal, or whatever you pronounce that stupid ass name, and then Tyrese Maxey paired with Ben Simmons. So, I mean, if I'm the Sixers, I still do that trade, even though James Harden looks like a NFL offensive lineman. But I do think that he's got talent, James Harden, and I do think that he'll bring a lot to the Nets and what they've been lacking because they're only 6-6. I know they're playing the Knicks right now, but they've been underwhelming this season, and they felt they needed to make a big time move.
All right, so I guess we'll just break it down for the 4 teams involved in the trade. So I guess we'll start with the Cavs, kind of the smallest team. So they received Jared Allen and Taurean Prince and just gave up the Milwaukee pick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I think for them, they've done very well in this trade. Like, Jared Allen's a very nice young player who it was looking like the Nets were going to build around him for the future, but I guess they just threw him away. James Harden's better. But, I mean, the Cavs have got Drummond, who's been playing well. And I don't know if they'll start Allen over him, but, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Drummond, but they've got him, so they'll use him. But I guess it gives the Cavs just a bit more security for the long term. Once Kevin Love moves on, I'm surprised Kevin Love wasn't in this deal. Like, why didn't they just get rid of him? Like, he's not doing anything. But
Yeah. Well, I put down the Cavs as my biggest winners of this trade simply for the fact that they didn't want to pay Andre Drummond. His contract's coming up at the end of the year. They don't want to pay him. He's obviously ass. They wanted another big man, a young big man that they could build around. And what they gave up, Dante Exum, who is terrible, even though he's Australian, he's terrible. And you give up the Milwaukee pick, which is going to be 25 to 30 range in the draft. So I think they gave up nothing, got Jared Allen, who's a really good young defensive center, who's, although he's a restricted free agent, you might have to pay him a bit of money. He's still 10 times better, in my opinion, than Andre Drummond, even though Andre Drummond fills up stat sheets. So I think they were my biggest winners simply for the fact that they didn't give up anything of importance, and they got a young center who has all-star potential in the East, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't know about All-Star, but he's a good player.
I mean, if DeAndre Jordan can make the All-Star team and Paul
Yeah,
Millsap can make the All-Star team, then Jared Allen can. I think the East is,
fair
because
enough.
of how weak the East is, I just think that he
Yeah.
can easily make it.
Okay. So we'll move on to Indiana. So Indiana lost Oladipo, who was playing well this year, but he wasn't back to the level he was pre-injury. They brought in Karis LeVert, who's a very good player, maybe one of the best ISO scorers in the league, and they got a second-round pick. So I think for Indiana, it's kind of like a 50-50 trade. If Oladipo goes to Houston and turns into that all-star level player again, and LeVert continues to sustain injuries, it might be a bad move. But I think that right now, I think they're two similarly level players. So
Yeah, the similar level right now, but I think LeVert is certainly the better option for Indiana. I think that he's younger and he's got years on his contract left. Oladipo's an unrestricted free agent. So Oladipo's going to want more money. He's going to want big time money. Depends on how he plays the season, of course. But I think locking up a guy like Karis LeVert in a small town city, well, not small town, but you get what I mean. Free agents don't like to come to Indiana, and getting a guy like Karis LeVert to come in, provide similar points to Oladipo, but I still think it's better move for Indiana. I think they got better with this trade, and they just did a like for like swap basically. I think they got a second rounder as well, but I like this trade for Indiana. They're winners as well, in my opinion, in this trade, even though it's not as big as a Cavs win, in my opinion.
okay, all right. So then we'll move on to the Rockets, who obviously lost James Harden, who was the centerpiece of this trade. They did get Oladipo from Indiana, and they did get a bunch of picks. So they've sort of Houston's in a weird position now where they have a bunch of like good players, like former All Stars. So they're not like tanking, but they've just picked up a bunch of picks looking to the future. So they're kind of an in between team for me now. I don't know if they'll be able to make the playoffs this season, but they definitely don't have the team to tank. So it's I don't know. I really don't know what to think of it for the Rockets.
Well, yeah, the Rockets are a tough one to gauge, and how where even they want to go. Well, I don't know where they want to go. I don't know if they want to go full rebuild, if they want to do sort of a rebuild on the fly sort of thing, and maybe get a good pick. But I think they won this trade at the end of the day. I don't know. I don't
Has
think.
anyone lost it for you? I mean,
No, I think the Nets are questionable. I'll get onto them, but
yeah,
I do think they won in this trade. I do. I think James Harden is, as much as I don't like his play style, I still think he's impactful. However, when a player publicly says his teammates are shit and he just wants out of there, you've got to. It's too cancerous to keep him in there. And for what they got for him, those Brooklyn picks, four, I think they got four, and they got four pick swaps. Um, to get that and Oladipo for a guy like James Harden is not the prime value. It's not Anthony Davis value, in my opinion, which they probably were hoping to get. But there were limited teams interested in James Harden because of his antics, because of his weight issue, because of everything that went on in the preseason with James. So I do think they won. However, it's time will tell how those Brooklyn picks will turn out, because I think they go to 2026, 2027. So
yeah,
it depends how the Nets move, because those later picks, like the Clippers when they traded for Paul George, they they gave up a lot of future picks that could mean a lot down the stretch. Could mean a lot down the stretch. They could be
yeah.
high lottery picks. So it just depends on how the Nets move and how well they do in the later years, and if they can adapt and they can continue to win. Otherwise, those picks later on could turn out. This trade could turn out really, really positively for the Rockets.
Yeah.
So I think they won, not by a lot, but I think they did well in this trade. They got the utmost value that they could get.
Okay. So we'll finish on the Nets. So The Nets obviously lost Levert, Allen, Prince, and all those picks, but they did get James Harden, who, despite what everyone's saying about him, he's still an elite player in this league. One of the best scorers we've ever seen, and he's going to help the team for sure. For me, the Nets are championship or bust this season now. Like anything less than a championship is a failure, especially if Kyrie comes back and actually like wants to play basketball. But I mean, I really like if Harden doesn't make this team significantly better, they've basically bet their whole future on this trade. So I can't. They're trying to get KD to re-sign. They want Kyrie to re-sign. They think bringing Harden in will make them both happy and help them buy in. But I don't know. Chemistry-wise, it's going to be hard. They're Kyrie and Harden especially are very isolation dominant. So yeah, it will be interesting to see how it plays out. But I think it's championship or bust at this point.
Well, yeah, the Nets, I can't say that they won this. I thought a lot of teams won in this trade, as I've sort of outlined. But it's hard to say what the Nets are, what's going on with the Nets at the moment. I don't know how well they're going to do. They could go out in the first round. They could go out in the first round, or they could win a championship. With the Kyrie situation, with James Harden, obviously James Harden's going to be a lot happier in Brooklyn. But I do think that the Kyrie situation has put a dampener on this. Now, if this trade was made 2 weeks ago, I think everyone would be praising the Brooklyn Nets, would be saying championship contenders for sure, and if they're the favorites to win. However, with all the turmoil that's going on there, with a first-year head coach in Steve Nash, I don't know how he's going to be able to manage all those personalities. I mean, all of them are ball dominant. Like you said, Kyrie Irving, ball dominant. Kevin Durant, although he can play off players, still needs a lot of the ball. James Harden's ball dominant. So it's going to be interesting to see how they sort of work chemistry wise. They gave up a lot of future picks, and Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, who will impact them defensively. However, you get a player like James Harden and you only give up good role players and future picks, it helps you for now. This is a long-term trade, like the Paul George trade. We can't gauge if that's a loss or a win for the Clippers yet and the Thunder because the future picks haven't been drafted yet and we don't know how well they're going to be. So we'll see how those picks are. I think they were the worst. They lost the most out of this trade simply for the fact that I don't think they're as good as people say they are, especially with Kyrie Irving like he is now. But hopefully, well, I don't say hopefully because I want the Clippers to win, but I do think there's potential to either win or go out in the first round.
So do we want to focus in on the Kyrie situation real quick? What do you think about what he's doing and the situation with COVID? Do you think he's going to come back to the team? What are your thoughts?
I mean, it's shocking how a player can think he has that much like power. Like you make 400 grand to play a basketball game. Me and you, we would play in the NBA for free if we could. I mean, we'd be trash.
Maybe a little money. Like I'd like a little money.
Yeah, but like, I mean, little money would help. But we'd be absolute trash, but we'd give the shirts off our backs to play in an NBA game because it would be our absolute dream. For a guy like that to say, I'm just going to not play. I don't feel like playing COVID. And George Hill, did you hear George Hill's comments? How he said,
No.
well, it's like we shouldn't even play if we have all these lockdown restrictions. Like, bro, as Steven Adams greatly said, it ain't Syria, bro. It ain't Syria, mate. You're playing NBA basketball with some restrictions. Okay, the whole world's locked down. You can't blame other people and just say, oh, I went to my sister's birthday. Sorry, I broke COVID regulations. You have to abide by them. And by him not abiding by it, it's just disrespectful to the league, really. It's disrespectful to the league who have put so much effort in to make these players happy, to make these players comfortable in playing basketball and doing what they love. And they're getting paid their full contracts, even though the NBA is losing way more money because of no in-game revenue. It's like, what are you doing, mate? You're making a stupid mistake. Pretty sure no one really liked you anyway, but you're even becoming even more unlikable. I don't know what your thoughts are on it, but I just think it's highly disrespectful to the league and his organization.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Kyrie's turning into one of those players that just continues to have incidents. Like it feels like every month there's something Kyrie's done that's posted him in a bad light. I mean, like it's his job at the end of the day to play basketball, and if he's choosing to not do that, I think he shouldn't be getting paid. But I don't know. I mean, we in Australia for the NRL and the AFL season, like they basically had what the NBA's just put in place is what the NRL and the AFL did for the whole year last year, and that competition worked well. So it's just about the players buying into it and giving the fans a good competition, because at the end of the day, they want to see basketball and they want to see the best players playing. So,
But yeah, it's just pure arrogance from him. Like, I don't think he realized how many people love and watch basketball and pay a lot of money to watch you play basketball. And for him just to blatantly just say, nah, bro, I ain't playing. And while you earn 400 grand a game, it's just unbelievable to me that a player it's not like he's playing for the worst team in the league and he's like a superstar player and he's disgruntled where he is, like maybe like a James Harden. The guy just doesn't want to play basketball. And I know Stephen A brought it up this morning on ESPN. Should he retire? And he thought that he should retire. It's getting to that point where his mental stability is questionable, really questionable. I don't know if he ever has a drive to play basketball anymore. I mean, I remember when he came to the league, he had so much swagger, he had so much praise, he had so much hype around him, and he was such a great player, offensive player. And after that Cavs ring, he's just gone so far down in everyone's rankings as a great player. I mean, when he won that ring, people were calling him the best point guard in the league, calling him a future Hall of Famer, calling him everything under the book, and he may become a future Hall of Famer. But I just have no respect for him after you quit basketball. It's not like you're working if you're mining for coal 10 hours, 12 hours a day. You're literally shooting a basketball into a hoop and you can't be bothered to get out of bed and show up. That's just highly disrespectful.
yeah. Well, okay. Well, I think that brings us to the end of the Harden trade discussion. So to finish on the basketball talk for this week, we've both got a game to watch for the upcoming week. So you go first. What's yours?
Well, I've got two actually, and I think we might have
Ooh, fancy.
I think we might have one that's the same. Um, I've got the Jazz and Nuggets. Personally, because I want to gauge where this team is, where these teams are. I have no clue where the Jazz are and where the Nuggets are. I picked Jokic as my MVP last week, but I don't know how to gauge the Jazz and Nuggets. And I think they're both in similar situations with similar types of players. They've got emerging stars, but no real superstar talent other than Jokic, obviously, I think. But I do think that they're both similar teams, and I'm really interested to see who wins this game because they both seem other. If the Clippers didn't collapse last year, then the Nuggets would have gone in the second round, obviously. So I want to see if the Nuggets and Jazz can prove to me that they can beat another second round team convincingly. So that's my opinion. I want to see them. It's a game that was a thrilling first round series last year between the Jazz and the Nuggets. I want to see if someone can pull out, someone can pull ahead, someone can blow out the other team. I'm really interested in that game. The Bucks and Nets are also another game. I'm pretty sure you've got them because it is a big game for both teams. I mean, obviously, James Harden just coming into the team. The Bucks, mad with controversy. It's hard to know what the Bucks are at this point. If they're finally gonna make that final push to the playoffs, not to the playoffs, sorry, the finals. And I do think it will be an interesting game to see. This could be a potential Eastern Conference Finals match, and I will be very interested to see the Nets and the Bucks. So yeah, I think those two games are what I'm looking for, simply for the fact that I think there could be potential playoff games, playoff matches that are close and really, really tight. So I want to see if a couple games into the season, who is better trajectory towards the playoffs and who I think may or may not win in a playoff series, because this game might influence on who I feel. So, what about you?
Okay, so I did have the Bucks and the Nets as well. So I've quickly just scoured the fixtures to find a different game, and yeah, I've gone for the Pelicans and the Lakers. I mean, I know you're not
No
going to be
one
happy with me
cares
picking a
about the
Lakers game,
Pelicans. Stop
but
saying these
I
insignificant. No
mean,
one gives a shit about the Pelicans. Stop saying the Pelicans.
what? The Pelicans have so many like fan favorite players on their team.
But no one
Like
cares.
every
Okay, we get it. It's Lakers. A lot of them. Lonzo Ball playing against the Lakers again. Cool.
Zion, Brandon
The
Ingram.
Lakers are going to handle them comfortably. It's not going to be a close game. The games that I've picked are potential playoff matches. Not
Yeah.
not just like random games in the regular season. These teams could easily face in second round
Okay.
or third round.
But the Lakers and the Pelicans is going to be entertaining. 18 LeBron, always box
It's going to be
office.
entertaining for you because the Lakers are going to blow them out and you're not going to have to worry about it. That's what it's going to be.
The Pelicans are just a fun team to watch. But
They lost to the Hornets. They have no respect.
The Hornets are fucking sick. I love the Hornets.
They let Gordon Hayward score like 40 points. All right.
Gordon Hayward's going to be an all-star this year.
Do you have another game? Seriously?
Another game. You want another game?
I do want another game. That is
Okay. Okay, we got the.
anytime this year. That'd be good.
I mean, there's not very many televised games, you know. Keep going. Okay, nothing there. All right. Okay, Warriors and the Lakers.
Again, actually, no, that's a good game. I think
It is okay.
obviously we blew a 20-point lead to the Warriors, which wasn't great. And the Warriors
First LeBron.
I mean, I just don't.
Box office.
Sure. I just don't think that the Warriors have the capability to defend the Lakers. And if it wasn't for the Clippers choking again, the Warriors would have been handled easily because we dominated the game apart from like the last 5 minutes. So I do think that's a good game. It's better than the Pelicans-Lakers pick that you had. But we'll see. I think the Lakers will still win handedly. Any game, I don't think a Lakers game, other than the Clippers or the Nets or another big team, big championship contender, I don't see it as a potential good game because the Lakers just have an ability to close out games as well as control the game throughout with their depth, with their superstars. I just don't see the Lakers having trouble with anyone but championship contenders.
Yeah, they're going to win 85% of their games probably, but
85%. That's maybe a bit steep, but
okay, fine, 80. But well, they're already the number one seed. It's just they're favored in every game, but we'll see. All right. Okay, so I think that wraps up NBA talk for this week. I guess you say you want to talk about Man United. You're really high on them, so
I know
go
this
for it,
guy
mate.
is a former Man United fan. I won't even give him the credit of saying he's a Man United fan.
I will admit, I'm a
You gave up.
massive
That's what
casual.
you are.
I
You're a
haven't
quitter.
watched a game in like 5 years.
Yeah, you're a quitter. Okay, you're a
Yeah,
quitter.
because
When
it's
things
boring.
got tough, you quit. Me, on the other hand, I watched it when we were absolutely arse crack the entirety of last season, the season before that, the season before that, the season before that. We were terrible. But this season, we've got 36 points. We're 3 points ahead of Liverpool. I'm going to be interested to see because next week is the Liverpool-Manchester United game. That is a massive, massive game. Obviously, it's at 3:30 a.m. for me. I'll probably stay up and watch it. Might get a bit drunk so I can stay up. But apart from that, I do think that we're championship contenders, kind of. I think that's how you should approach this for Manchester United because we've got so many variables within the team. Paul Pogba, you don't know how his performances are going to go in and out. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes is a constant goal creator, goal scorer, but you've got a lot of players that could perform one game and then be absolute arse the next game. So it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, Liverpool and Man City got better teams. If Ollie's at the wheel, if Ollie can bring it home.
Ollie, who the hell is Ollie?
Oh my God. This is why I cannot
Isn't
believe.
it Ronaldo
Before
versus
the next
Torres?
podcast, you have got to research Manchester United because I cannot have you not know who the Manchester United manager is.
Oh,
Oh no!
is it the manager, Ollie?
Do you know what
I
Ollie did?
thought it was Sir Alex Ferguson.
All right, I know you're just taking the piss. Surely, are you taking the piss? Surely, surely. Okay, the guys like,
No, there was Mourinho, right? That was the last one I remember.
yeah, that was a couple years ago. I mean, I don't know if you've been living under a rock for the past couple of years, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is Manchester United manager.
Never heard of him.
I've got to educate you again. I don't know. I mean, you from France. I don't know why I should be educating you on football, but anyway, that's by the by. I do think that Liverpool will win, even though it hurts me to say it, because I think injuries have really just killed the start of the season for them. They lost Van Dijk early. Do you know who Van Dijk is?
Yes.
I've, thank God. Praise the heavens, you know who Van Dijk is.
Yeah. Also, that Arabic dude on the wing.
Egyptian.
Yeah.
Mo Salah, yeah.
Yeah, Marcelo. Yeah.
But they lost Thiago Alcantara. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, he used to play for Bayern.
So how do you know that and you don't know who
It
the
was
Manchester United manager is?
FIFA 16 days. That was my shit.
Oh, FIFA 16 days. Okay, so you know like Iron Robin is and
Yeah, robbery.
not Ribery, not robbery. You
Yeah,
fucking
that's their name. Iron Robin and Frank Ribery. They're
said
robbery.
robbery.
Yeah, that's their name.
Ribery. Okay, and never mind. My thing is, Liverpool game's going to be a big tester for Manchester United. I hope we can win. I'm going to be praying for us to win. I might even drag Oscar up. I might just bring
Hell
him up,
no.
drag him up, make sure he put him in front of that TV and make sure he watches it. Hopefully we can win, but I'm a bit skeptical about our championship hopes. I mean, we'll see after next week. I might bring it up next week, depending if we win or lose. So up to you, Oscar.
Okay. All right. So, well, in other sporting news, the UFC is back this week, and the UFC is actually an amazing promotion. MMA is an amazing sport.
It is. Yeah.
So yeah, Fight Island. You know what Fight Island is? Yeah, massive casual.
Of course, I know what Fight Island is.
You do? Okay. Okay.
Yes, in the
So
middle of some desert, and they just put up a big tent and they fight in it.
exactly right. Exactly right. So yeah, there's 3 events in the space of 1 week. This Sunday, I believe, is Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar. You know who Calvin Kattar is?
I do.
Okay. If you don't know who Calvin Kattar is, you're a certified casual. So get educated.
I mean, he's a good striker, I guess.
He's Most people think he has the best boxing in the division. Some of the best boxing in the
Yeah, but
UFC.
then again, who gives a shit about featherweights? Like, honestly.
Featherweight's one of the most stacked divisions.
Yeah, but no one knows them. No one cares
Everyone
other than
knows
the
them.
top 3 guys. Of course, you know them because you think you're some UFC expert.
Volkanovski, Max, Zabit, yeah. Calvin
Yeah.
Kattar.
What kind of
Three
name is
zombie.
yeah? Sorry, but these guys are
As
not.
Chael Sonnen says, your ear.
Yeah, even Chael Sonnen, the legend himself, the master trash talker, doesn't even know can't even pronounce one of the NBA.
I'm pretty sure it's a joke.
What?
I'm pretty sure it's a joke. Like he just
I'm
takes
pretty
random
sure,
names and just says them
pretty sure
wrong.
he just doesn't give a shit about featherweights. I think that's it.
Okay, well, fucking Max coming off that very, very controversial loss to Volko. I mean, 90% of the world thinks he won the fight. I know I'm Australian, but I think he won the fight. If he loses this fight, I think he's got to move up to lightweight because that's 3 in a row now, which is not a good look, even though he's probably still the best featherweight in the world. So yeah, if you're looking to put money on, I would go Max by decision, probably. Calvin does have a chance though. He is a great boxer.
Are you gonna put money on it?
I will. I'm gonna do a multi. Also with on the
A $1 multi? You're gonna put?
I'll put $10 on it. But yeah, in the
$10. Wow.
in the co-main, we've got you might know these guys. Carlos Condit.
I thought he retired 10 years ago.
Exactly. Carlos Condit versus Matt Brown. Okay.
What?
Carlos Condit versus Matt Brown. Two fighters that are miles out of their primes, but they're 2 legends, I guess. I feel like Matt Brown is just gets knocked out by air these days. So Carlos Condit's going to piece that dude up and KO him inside 2 rounds. So go with Carlos Condit for that one. And then the other fight is Santiago Ponzinibbio coming back from, I think,
Wow,
almost a 2-year layoff.
what a fighter he is.
He was ranked inside the top 10 at welterweight before his layoff. He's coming back against Li Jingliang, I think, the Leech, who's coming off a loss to Neil Magny. So he is a good fighter, but I expect Ponzinibbio to get the win over him. So my bet for this week is Ponzinibbio into Condit into Holloway. I think that's a nice bet, and you should get some decent rewards from it. So yeah,
Whoever
go fuck
listens to the
yourself.
podcast, I want to reaffirm: do never, ever listen to Oscar's betting tricks. Okay, betting picks, whatever you want. Never listen to Oscar because he's always wrong. Never listen to him. Okay, I don't even know half those names, but I can guarantee you the other guy's gonna win. Okay,
I win some bets.
you win some bets. What bets do you win?
Nathan Cleary to win man of the match in Origin 2.
Wow, that's. Oh no, you did win the game. You do win state of origin picks. So listen to his state of origin picks. He did pick Tedesco to score a try
I just pick New South Wales every time.
and
So
New South Wales to win, even though they didn't do it last year. Listen to his state of origin. Don't listen to anything else. He's completely clueless. You should listen to my picks, okay? Always listen to me. I know what I'm talking about, especially about basketball and the Premier
you've
League.
never
Even
gambled with real money in your life.
yeah, but I know where I'm going. I know how
It's
to
different
predict.
when the stakes are high.
Yeah, I guess, but still, bet opposite to what Oscar picks, okay? Whatever he picks, who is the? I'm picking. Who
I'm
is
telling
fighting?
you, Ponzinibbio into Condit into Holloway. That's a
All
sure
right,
win.
I'm picking the other guys. All right, we'll
Cater.
see next week. We'll see next week who wins that. Okay, I guarantee I'll win either 3 or 2 of those picks.
Okay, we'll
So
see.
there you go.
All right. Well, anything else you want to talk about? Anything going on in your life you want to tell the masses of fans we have?
Well, you know what? All this fame is getting to me. You know, it's tough dealing with fame and going to university at the same time. Just sucks. But next week, hopefully, we'll be in person. Hopefully, I can just punch him in the face when he says something
What?
stupid, like Kyle Kuzma's going to win Most Improved Player, which is the most stupid pick I've ever heard in my life. So expect some punches for next week's episode, maybe some slaps, some backhanders though. It won't be front handers, that's a bit dog. Some backhanders. Hopefully, Man United can win. Hopefully, the Clippers
All right,
can win.
shush now, mate. This is too long.
All right, bye.
All right, make sure everyone to go like, subscribe, comment. We're on the road to 1 million subs, million subscribers. So stay tuned for that. So yeah, see you in a bit. Peace.